Hello, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a 2,500 point game of my Orcs against some Wood Elves. So when we first rolled for the battle here, we got the Watchtower, but my opponent just asked me, hey, can we just do a regular battle line type mission, because really it wouldn't be much of a game if we did Watchtower, unfortunately. So I said, sure, yeah, whatever. So we set up. Uh, on my side, from left to right, I have that Wolf Chariot. I have my unit of 100 Knight Goblins with 3 bosses in there. Then I have my horde of Savage Orc big guns with extra choppa. Behind them is my bunker with the Night Goblin archers, and in there I have my Night Goblin BSB. I'm trying for the first time a Night Goblin Great Shaman, and then I also am trying out this Goblin War Boss with nothing. He's just there for the leadership, and you'll see a better picture of him later. Then I have a boar chariot. Then I have my black orc horde, another boar chariot. Sorry, there's a troll that's behind my savages as well. Then on the far right, I have my squig herd horde, and then another wolf chariot on the far right. And as you might see, I've gotten a little bit more painting done with that squigs and the savages. I still have half the savages still do. That's why the back ones are filling, but getting there. Anyway, my opponent, what he has is, it's going to be kind of hard to see because everything's behind buildings and stuff, but on the far left he has an altar noble, and then there's some dryads, there's tree man, some tree kin, there's some more dryads behind the building. In the building is the some glade guard and an archmage. On the right there's some way watchers that went in there, some war dancers with a BSB, some more glade guard with a level 2, and then on the far right 2 scouting units of glade guard. Yeah, that's everything. Anyway, so when we were first looking at this, and I was told that, okay, I'm going to be up against Wood Elves. Well, I thought, oh boy, that's going to be a cakewalk. But then when I started talking to him, he was talking about how during the last 10 games he's 8-2. I started getting a little bit worried because Wood Elf players, I mean, Wood Elves are a little bit hard off in 8th, but you can still do really well if you know what you're doing. And so looking at his army, there's a few weak things. I mean, like, I don't think there's any real use in the Way Watchers and stuff. But then again, I mean, his army is very mobile, and really no matter which way I go, he can very quickly shift to one side or the other. And if I allow him to get behind me, I'll never catch him. So this could be really tough. Some of the main things I want to do is just get up there and smash some of whatever points I can, just so if he does run around me, I can survive and get the win, hopefully. But it's going to be interesting. And here's just a picture down the center. And if you look in my bunker there, you can see a guy in yellow. This is his Blood Bowl model that I'm going to be using for my general. He's actually just like a little goblin cheerleader, but really that's all he's going to be in this game, is just cheering on the team with his leadership. So I like him. So the Widows win first turn, and it's pretty simple. I mean, not a lot of things move at all. Some things shuffle forward, but that's it. With his shooting, he kills a couple of squigs. Does like 1 wound to my troll, kills 1 savage, but really not a lot of damage so far. His main caster has the Laura Life, of course, and at this turn he had tried to dwellers my savages, but I just scrolled it. So my first turn, animosity is all good, but my silly troll fails stupidity. The whole line moves up, where you can see that 1 banner. That's where the savages should be, on the far left there. And then I decide to do more damage to myself than my opponent. So when my opponent went into the woods at the top there, it turned out to be one that causes fear. When my black orcs went through the woods down here, it was a venomous thicket. So with all the dangerous terrain, I lost 7-ish or something like that. So not good, but whatever. Anyway, when I got to the magic phase, I thought my magic was going to be doing really well because, I have all those magic mushrooms. And the biggest spell that I thought was going to help out was just a little magic missile one. 3d6 hits for a magic missile was going to do a whole bunch of damage to the Wood Elves here. But unfortunately, the level 4 has an item where he gets to re-roll his dispel dice, and that makes it fairly easy for him to shut down whatever he wants to stop. So didn't really get anything done this turn. So Wood Elves turn 2. He's shifting around more in the back there. I mean, making it very obvious. I can see now that, yeah, he is one of these Wood Elf players that really uses his army well, and I'm going to have a hell of a time catching him. But while he's doing this, he actually moved up his tree man and tree kin. So I'm going to be looking to smash that right away if I can. Then he decides to really concentrate on my support units. So both my wolf chariots are down to 1 wound. Takes another wound off another boar chariot there on the left. And yeah, so I'm going to have to get to him pretty quick. But unfortunately on my turn 2, I have a little bit of bad luck. My squig horde here on the far right fails animosity and has, either charge or do nothing. And since I'm out of range, I just had to do nothing. So that kind of breaks down my battle line here, and so my one chariot kind of stays back just to try and, hopefully not get shot, and then also try and guard against him running around me. My savages tried to charge the treekin there, but they failed their charge. I then move up my night goblins to go block the tree man. So you can see there's a little banner guy that's in the courtyard. So that's there, but it's I just can't move the whole unit there because it won't really fit with the way that thing is set up. Anyway, I just keep on moving up. The venomous thicket keeps on eating my guys. And again, my magic does really nothing. I mean, I get poison attacks on my night goblins, but that's it. And so I'm still just trying to pressure and move up. So Wood Elves turn 3, and here's the first real charges of the game. Treekin going into my savages, which I feel really solid about, and then the Tree Man going into the Night Goblins. So, as I said, I'm pretty happy with the savage combat. Then on the left, I mean, with them having poison attacks and me having those big bosses, I'm pretty sure that I can eventually eat this guy down, and hopefully get some points there as well. So this is what it looks like at the end. I'm just going to focusing in on either side. I mean, he kills my right chariot, the wolf one on the far right. He moved his characters out in the open. I mean, obviously the one war altar or the altar noble has to be, but he moved his level 4 out as well. So I mean, if I ever get that magic missile off, that guy's toast. But he's just worried now that I could be charging the watchtower where the wizard was hiding. My opponent got pretty unlucky with the magic. He was looking to go really boost up the treekin with flesh to stone and stuff, but he just rolled a whole bunch of ones and shut down his own magic phase and made it easy for me. So there, I really messed up the treekin. It also helped that I sent a fanatic through that they had to land on. But in the end, he had one guy with 1 wound. He needed a 4 to hold, and he got it. So, whereas I could have really now followed this up and charged the dryads, overran into the war dancers, now I'm just going to be stuck there while he runs around. In the big combat, I moved over all my bosses, and he actually targeted them, which was horrible. 2 on each. He did a wound to each of them, and when I attacked back, I did 2 wounds. But now seeing that he's actually going to be targeting them, he's going to be able to score a lot of points. Alright, so then on my turn 3, my Black Orcs charge into the tower up there, killing 5 of them. My one chariot on the far right there smashes into the archers at the top. Only kill 4, so is steadfast. He holds on. Otherwise, I kill the one last treekin in combat. He kills all 3 of my big bosses in the other combat. And really, I mean, what else do I have? On the far left, my wolf chariot that was down to 1 wound decided to hit some dryads that were sneaking around. Only killed a couple, and then he did the last wound to me, so that chariot's dead as well, giving up the points. And then on the far right, I mean, my squig horde is just kind of holding back because on his own, there's no way he's going to be able to pin in those 2 scouting and skirmishing units. And again, for magic, didn't get anything done. I can't remember if it was this turn or the next turn that they actually squabble. Oh, it's going to be the next turn, but same thing. He's just able to shut down everything I do with his rerolls. So Wood Elves turn 4, and this is where I realize I'm going to be in some big trouble. Whereas I had hoped that he was going to kind of charge in and try and beat my battered down savages, thinking that he can break them. He wisely didn't do that, and he's shifting around the house on the left, meaning they have nothing to attack. His archers that were in the building pulled out. They're actually behind it, but in such a way that I can't charge them, and everything's just dancing around me. So now I know that pretty much I probably scored all the victory points I'm going to get, unless I get lucky with some magic missiles. And that being said, I don't. It's either going to be a tie or a loss, so that's really going to make this very difficult. And to make it even more difficult, his silly archers beat my chariot by having a musician and break, and I at least get away. But man, I really had hoped that that chariot could beat them and then reposition to charge one of those scouting units, but now it's not to be. As well, with his Laura life, he's now healing up his tree man. So now I know as well there's no way I'm going to kill him before he gets totally healed each time. So it's going to be tough. So my turn, I hide my troll in the one building. My one chariot on the far right keeps on running and hits into the woods and luckily passes both difficult terrain tests. My Black Orcs on the top have reformed just in hopes that his shaman and Way Watchers are going to fail their March test. It's just a long shot, but might as well try something. And otherwise, my Savages had to reform because I didn't really have room for them to sneak through for where the Night Goblins are supposed to be. So they're doing that in hopes that I can maybe catch one of those units. And yeah, this was a turn that my Night Goblins, the archers squabbled. So I mean, I I really wanted to try and throw a lot of dice into the magic missile to try and get some points here, but what can you do, right? And in combat, I just keep on losing. And one of the things I should mention is in this list, I have the banner discipline, so I have leadership 8, but I'm starting to get a little bit worried that each time I have to do this re-roll, whenever I lose, that eventually I might lose that unit, and that's going to easily give him the win. So his turn 5 now, and so now he's really going to start looking for getting some points. He just shuffles around me, not giving me any options, and worst of all, those dryads are sneaking around my rear, and so I mean, if they get to my bunker, they're going to make a mess. And one of the things I've been kind of pre-measuring to see if I can do is if they could just walk into that tower there to be safe. No, they're not close enough. So that one not being able to do anything last turn is going to have them in some trouble, and I'm probably just going to lose the unit. Anyway, with magic, he doesn't really get anything off this time. I'm getting pretty lucky with shutting down some of his spells, so that's good at least. And then with shooting, he's been doing a lot of shooting into my squig herd to try and kill off all the herders in order to make them explode and get the points, but he just doesn't have enough. I'm staying at long range, and so he's just not doing enough to get it done. So then on my turn 5, assuming that he's going after my bunker, the Savages turn back around, all 3 characters join them, and then the bunker shifts away, and I catch the itchy nuisance on the Dryads to reduce their movement by 2. So now if they charge, I'm just going to flee with the bunker and then countercharge with the Savages. So that's going to keep them away from those points. Otherwise, I'm really had a good trap here going on the top right. My Black Orcs reform, I bring over a chariot, and now I finally move over the squig horde, which you can't really see. And what that's doing is kind of trapping in these Way Watchers and the archers, so that hopefully I can get some points here again and netting something. Otherwise, in combat, same thing. He does a whole bunch of wounds to me, but I'm steadfast. Alright, so his turn 6, and actually I have to backtrack for a second. When I did that itchy nuisance last turn, I actually got a irresistible force miscast, and the miscast did the huge blast, doing some wounds to me, but no big deal. And then as well, there was a chance that my shaman was going to just automatically die, but luckily I passed that. On this turn, his dryads charged into my spearmen on the left. I kind of beat them. He passes his marching test with the Way Watchers go into the woods, and then they sing that forest further away. The archers there didn't even try and get away, but they just kind of stayed there to kill my troll and get those points. Other shooting as well was able to kill my chariot, so that's even more points for him, so that's no good. And the scariest thing of this turn is he got dwellers off with irresistible force on my Savages, and so luckily for him, it doesn't do anything bad to his mage, other than I think maybe take a wound or something. But on me, I was lucky enough to pass all my strength tests on all my characters, and sure I lost 9 Savages or something, but obviously that doesn't matter. So my turn last turn, I get a little lazy. First of all, I thought I'd just reform around the Savages so I could just at least try and do some matching missiles and things, but Uh, I didn't want to pick them up and do that with the overlapping trays. I just moved the characters out there so I can try and do the magic and things and blast them. But unfortunately, again, even though I try and blast those archers in the tower, his re-rolling ability was able to shut it down with some double sixes. And the thing that was stupid is that now that the banner guy isn't the same unit as my general is only leadership 7. So when I lost combat, I was thinking, oh my god, the whole time we were joking that he was going to break them last turn. Really seemed like it was going to be true, but luckily with the BSB reroll, I was able to pass it. So no points scored for him on this side. And then on this side, my chariot rallies, thanks God, so there's those points saved. And my Squig Horde, I assumed that he was going to flee, and then I'd have to charge him again with the Black Orcs to send him off the board. But he just took the charge, I guess hoping they wouldn't completely die and then run away. But with, this unit was already weakened, and with all those, strength 5 attacks, I just munched through the unit. And so that at least scored me some quick last second points there. So when we added it all up, we knew it was going to be really close, and it turned out to be extremely close. Actually, he only had one more point than I did. So a draw. It was a very the best thing with Wood Elves when you have a really good player is that at least you know that it's not going to be the same just run up mash them type fight. So it was really enjoyable in that way that you have to go and be very careful to try and set up traps and find some way to track these guys down so you can actually get some points from them. He was actually saying that some of the other people are actually calling his army cheesy because he just runs around. But I mean, come on, that's what Wood Elves do, and they already had their own struggles. So kudos to this guy to making them work. Otherwise, some thoughts on the game. Obviously, I made a mistake in putting those big bosses up against the tree man. There's no reason for me to even. I mean, if I would have thought of him with the healing with the Lore of Life, I never would have killed him anyway. So I should have kept them out, and then at the end there, when the Dryads charged me, I could have countered. Uh, Obviously, it hurt me here on the right side where the herd failed animosity, but even with that, it would have been hard to hunt them down. And in the end, I think it really came down to getting lucky with the magic there, where he made me take all those tests on those characters with that dwellers, and I just luckily passed them all. And man, I just wish if I just could have gotten that that magic missile off from my guy, I could have just been killing these guys. But it's just the way it goes. Wood Elves are so good at dispelling. So anyway, there you go, a tie, and hope you like watching.